What's going on, everyone? All About the Data podcast, back with another episode. Y'all already know what it is. We back with another special guest in the building, and we got the team in the building: Shanice, Jafar, Quant King, Jay. You already know what time it is. We got a special guest, Bukki, in the building. Bukki, what's going on?
Hi, everyone. I'm all good. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate you we appreciate you coming on, giving us some of your time to express your expertise to us beginners out here. So go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us about yourself, what you want us to know.
Oh, fantastic. So, hi, everyone. I'm Bukki, or otherwise known as Bukki Okiji. I am a senior project manager and change manager within the National Health System in the UK. I am what you probably call an accidental project manager because I didn't really carve my path to become a project manager. I have been in this kind of role with this job kind of spectrum for about 15 years now, probably a little bit longer than that. I've worked in different sectors. I've worked in government policies. I've also worked in fashion. And I've also worked for, oil companies. And now I am really, really passionate about health tech. For a number of reasons. And I also help startups project manage their projects, and also with events as well. So anything that requires any element of project management, you're sure to catch me there. So that's me. Thank you.
That's interesting. What got you into health tech? Or was you always in there?
No, I wasn't always in it. What had happened was I was working for a local government doing campaigns. And while I was there, I saw an opportunity just within, I wanted to get, I don't know, I think I wanted to get into project management because I was already doing it, but just didn't have the job title for it. So, and a friend of mine said, Bukki, you should just apply for it. And I wasn't thinking whether it was for the NHS. I just wanted to work for a really good organization, being that I was already working in government. And I applied, first time applying for a project management role. And I got, what was it? It was a project officer, which is more like a junior role. And I was given the opportunity to start working for them, and not, and it was the National Health System. I didn't really know much about health tech when I started, but within 6 months of being in that role, I was promoted with no project management experience and qualification, and which was basically unheard of within the organization. And normally for you to be promoted, you would have had to reapply. And I didn't need to reapply because I was actually spearheading a clinical system that was introduced into the ecosystem. And my manager before that had to leave. And then it meant that I had to manage that system. So, and that promotion really did a lot for my confidence. And then I started learning more about the digital tools that were utilized to support patients. And in that process, I became really, really immersed in it, and realizing that technology can really support people's health. And especially, and I think my mindset or my perspective started changing when I actually went on a visit. So I went to visit a couple of the community nurses, and what they do with the patients and how they deal with the patients. And from that visit alone, I realized that I was in the right industry. I knew that what I was doing really and truly mattered. The systems that I was bringing into, the tools that I was bringing into the system were really changing people's lives. And I've been within the NHS for nearly 7 years now. and I've been promoted. I think about
NHS. That's in the
National
UK,
Health
right?
System. Yeah, it's the National Health System in the UK. It's the only national health system in the UK.
Yeah, I got a friend that worked for that too.
Oh, okay. What do they do?
She's a business intelligence
BI.
Yeah, BI. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was telling me that's like one of the big things over there is the NHS.
Mm-hmm. It is, because that's so basically the health system within the UK. That's the only health. That's what works with the government. That works. So I'm what you would call as a commissioner. What that means is that we look at solutions or tools or systems that we can put into like the hospitals to help with the patients. I've also, within the NHS has so many different arms. So you have the trust, which is the hospital. And within the trust, that's who actually deals with the patients. So you go to hospital and it's called the acute system. And then after the acute system, you have people like us that actually support and fund the acute systems. So maybe your friend probably works as a commissioner as well, or probably works within the trust. So there are different, so there's the provider and the commissioner. The providers are the acute system or the community centres for the patients. So, but I love it. I absolutely love my job. I have been offered other jobs roles within corporate, but I think I'm well. I'm really, really happy in the space that I'm in. And currently, I have been promoted again within business. I know.
Okay.
So my role has slightly changed from project management to change management. A role which and this always happens to me, like I go into roles that I probably absolutely don't really know much about, but someone saw something in me and said, oh, Bukki, why don't you apply for this? And I didn't even need to apply because the manager called me, I think like a few days after that person mentioned the role to me. And the manager had a conversation with me and said, I think you would, because you're very people orientated. I know you love project management and you will be project managing, but we really need you to start helping us change perspectives and people's perspective to the adoption of tech tools within the system. Because what happens within the system is that we introduce tools and people think, yes, it's nice and fancy. And then we implement them. And then when we implement them, the adoption rate is really, really low. So, so part of the reason why I was promoted was they realized that I had really good relationships across the systems, and they wanted to do a number of sessions, lessons learned, and benefits realization. Why we put in these tools in, what's happening with the tools, are people really utilizing these tools? If they're not utilizing it, what can we do about it? So that's how I came into this role. About how long has it been? About 6-7 months now. And I am managing a team of project managers, BAs, and change facilitators. So I'm loving it right now and I'm enjoying it. So I'm not really moved away from the senior project management, but I'm incorporating the change management into it. And I've just recently gone on a course for change management, and I love it because it's about the behavior of people using things and the adoption of things. And that kind of aligns with me as well. See, I'm speaking way too much.
Yeah, nah, you should. You informing us. That's we here to learn. Us, all the listeners, we here to tune in, tap in, all that good stuff. So but yeah, let's get into it. Once again, we appreciate you coming on the show, dropping all your wisdom. So let's hop into it and see what we can get under the sauce. Let's get behind the scenes of Bukki, y'all.
Tell us.
Okay. Let's go.
I feel like we about to go on a race. Everybody start their engines. So Bukki, could you explain to us exactly what is a change manager?
Change manager, not project manager. A change manager for me is someone that looks at the system and looks at, okay, so let's say there's a change that's coming into the system. So many times people bring in tools without actually understanding the user or the people that are actually going to use the system. So, and then they ask the question, okay, we brought this system into play, but no one's using it and not really understanding the change aspect of it. And the fact of the matter is, people don't like to change. People don't like change the system that they're currently working with, or change the environment that they're currently working within. So a change manager, what the change manager's role is supposed to do is to communicate with the users or anyone that is going to be affected by the system. One, to build the awareness of the said system or the tool by letting them know that this system is going to happen and the reason behind it, literally educating them about the purpose of this new way of working. And then there has to be a number of activities that is done to ensure that this is well understood before bringing in the system. And then another aspect of change management is making sure that certain tools and certain processes are put in place so that not just those that are going to be, not just the stakeholders that are going to be utilizing the system, but everyone within the ecosystem understand that this tool or this system is about to change. And within the change management process as well, you do have to have a plan. It isn't just like you're moving away from project management. You do have to have a plan. There has to be a level of who's responsible for what. There has to be a number of workshops with regards to the system. There has to be demos of how the system is going to work, even before the implementation of the system. And then post the system or the tools been put into place, there has to be a bit of hand holding as well. And with regards to training, all that, all that aspect. And then after that, there has to be a reasoning behind the utilization of the tools, the benefits realization and so forth. Change management is slightly different from project management. Project management is project management in a sense as a start and a finish, right? And it is literally about delivering deliverables, and making sure that you're hitting those milestones. And at the same time, planning, executing, and and closing the project and handing the project over. Change management is slightly a bit more behavior, organizational change, and whereas project management is, set guidelines.
Yeah.
So
would you say the project management skills was like transferable or it kind of helped prepare you for that?
Most definitely. I would say, for me, I will always say that I'm a project manager. And the reason why I say that is because I've got more experience as a project manager. So let me give you an example. So within my role right now, when I was employed to do change management, being that I haven't had any prior experience or even gone to any kind of courses. So I was really thrown in the deep end of saying, okay, we've got a system that's got to come into place and we need some change management to be done for it. The first thing I had to do was like, okay, let's have a meeting. Let me meet who the stakeholders are and, talk to them about the system, which is what you would do within project management as well. So that definitely I was able to transfer that skills of communications, understanding and making sure that there's a comms plan, understanding that the stakeholders or those that are affected by the system know about the system. So I would most definitely say a lot of the skills that I've acquired within project management, I'm able to bring into my role as a change manager, most definitely. What else can I say that I've brought in within? I like, so with my project manager, I'm very, very organized. I like, although it was a rude awakening within project management. So when I worked for the local government, things did work quite fast, whereas within the NHS, things don't work quite fast. And this is due to constraints of competencies with different stakeholders, and also to do with people's timings. And so within the NHS things work at a slower pace. And that was a rude awakening for me because I'm very organized. I like things to be done at set time, set time boxes. And it's something I had to learn over the past 6-7 years, that my expectations of things literally had to be, well managed. Another thing I would say that I took from my role as project management to change management is people management, which is something that I'm now doing within my role. So in my old role within project management, I was managing a team of about 11 infrastructure guys. So that was as a senior project manager. Yes.
And how did you like keep track of all the
infrastructure team?
Yeah.
Oh, thank God for Dierra.
Yeah. Yeah, Dierra.
The moment Dierra was, so before I was managing that, so like I said, so when I was working within project management for the IT team, the projects that I worked on at the very beginning were more systems projects. And then when cybersecurity came in, I was project managing the cybersecurity projects. And then once that was done, I was asked, because they didn't have a manager for the infrastructure team. I think they changed management 8 times. And it was a challenge. They asked, Bukki, would you like to come and manage the infrastructure team? And I was like, God, there's 11 guys. Will they listen to me? That was the very first thing. And then, my management was like, of course they'll listen to you, So I had a meeting with them and I kind of said, okay, what work do you do? Can you all tell me what? I don't know anything about infrastructure, but working with them, I was now, oh my God, my wealth of knowledge within that space is crazy. So I said, okay, what do you do? What projects? Literally met with each and every single one of them. Okay, what work are you working on right now? And what's your availability in case there's new projects that's coming in, so that I can kind of slot in your availability. And then what I'd ask, because not all of them are project managers, so literally have to do their project management for them. Say, okay, this is your, this is your plan. Can you work to that plan? And it was hard. I will not lie to you, because they're not rigid. The infrastructure team, they just like to be told, okay, go and sort out this network and then come back and then get it ticked off. That's how they work. They work on a list basis, not a project basis. But me coming into that team, I was able to provide structure and level of accountability, because what was happening was that there wasn't any accountability in the sense, if something was to go wrong, it would always be, it was that person. Whereas there were, project owners, task owners. I was able to utilize Dierra for that. And the good thing that it did do was that it built up more morals, because they were able to say, I achieved this within this period. Whereas before, there was never that. So when it came to reporting the infrastructure, I think during the time that I was there, before I started managing them, they were always bottom on the pile, because no one couldn't tell what it is that they were doing over the years. Although, yes, they looked after the whole hospital system, but they were working very much ad hoc and always firefighting. Whereas when I came in, it was a case of, okay, at the end of year reports, what did the infrastructure team do? I had a list of every single project that they had completed successfully. And that was what built their confidence, and that was what built their morale. So for that was a major achievement for me. It was a struggle. And even when I moved teams, they didn't want me to leave. And they tried to make me do the job with my new job at the same time for about 2 months. And I couldn't do both together. I just couldn't. It didn't work. And plus I wasn't going to get paid more. So it didn't make sense. Yeah.
You want double the job title, double the money.
Yeah. So it's yeah. But they were like, oh, is there a way? At one point they wanted to pay me more also that I can stay. But I was really relishing the challenge for the change management, because one, I believe in faith, and I believe there was a reason as to why I was approached for this role. And if an opportunity comes, I'm one person that would look at the opportunity and say, where is that going to take me in the next year? And I'm a great believer in always learning. I'm a great believer in that. So because of that, I said, okay, you know what, this is a challenge, but I'm happy to take it on. And it's been 6-7 months of steep learning, but I love that within my role, because not many people are like me. You don't often get a project manager that's a change manager. So within my role, I'm able to look at structure. I'm able to say, oh, actually, no, let's not do it this way. Let's try and do it this way. So yeah, I kind of relish in it. So there we go.
Yeah, that's how we look at Shanice. She's like our data analyst, project manager, all in one package deal. Like
Scrum master.
Scrum master.
Well, we'd be like, do we have to do the other bio for this person?
Yes.
We might as well
have to get it done
right now.
We have deadlines and deliverables.
The thing is, John, like, I'm so glad we have this, because without it, I just would have been all over the place, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, you need structure. It makes it so much easier. It makes everything smoother.
I don't know how people don't have structure. And like,
I don't know
in
either.
my head, I don't understand it. Okay, you want to do something. The reason why, even in our lives, right? The reason why, okay, you have a goal and you want to achieve that goal. And then you ask yourself 3 months later, why have you not achieved that goal? Because you didn't put a plan together. You didn't have a structure. You didn't even put a baseline date. That's why when Jamal put down, I think he posted something for, was it your plan for Q2? I absolutely loved it. I was like, you know what? I rock with that. Time for people to actually say, okay, within Q2, quarter 2, I want to achieve this. And if you do more of that, your life will run a lot smoother. Even like my Vegas trip, even though everyone's like, oh, you know, Bukki, just go with the flow. I planned everything to the T. It's so ridiculous. Like, I know. And the reason why I do that is because I'm able to mitigate any potential risk. Exactly. Right? And I'm not alarmed by anything that's going to come my way. Yep. So, and I do that at work, and I do that within my life, and I do it with my children as well. Like, you know, okay, you want to go to university, fantastic. What do you want to study at university? Do you know how you're going to do it? What do you need? And although they find it irritating, my eldest, who's going to be 15 in 2 weeks, she has taken that on. And now I don't even need to tell her anything. She's literally planned her life to the T. she's planned it. And I think
I'm about to put my trip to Nigeria in Jira.
For real. That's fair. That reminds me of YNAB, bro, and just budgeting with your money. Like
all of that.
Money. What you do for your year, for your quarters, for your month. Like, most definitely.
I'm not really good with money, but I'm really good with planning. I'm really
girl, you're gonna be lit. Don't worry, girl. I'm gonna go tell you my YNAB link right now. You're gonna be like, I love this. You're gonna love it.
No,
it's like project management for money.
I'm always planning. Even like so like that's my 9 to 5. So my 9 to 5 is with the NHS, and then my 5 to God knows what time, because I moonlight. I run other projects. So one of the projects that I work on, and I've been working on it for about 6 years. 6 years as well. It's the Africa Fashion Week London, which is actually the biggest African fashion show in Europe. I don't really put much of that on my profile, but I've been helping with events planning, events management. And fashion is not something that I am fantastic at, but I absolutely love. One, the reason why I love it is because it is showcasing, because I live in Europe and in UK, and the Black designers are not well showcased. And for the London Fashion Week, and something had to be done about it. So I absolutely rock with the concept of showcasing the best of African fashion, and especially the talent is just crazy. So I support with the planning, usually like 3 to 4 months before the show, organizing the designers, organizing the events, the venue, the lighting, the sound, the volunteers. I absolutely relishing it. And before I actually started, and they had like, what did they have? They didn't have a project manager. They had, can you hear me? Sorry. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
We lost your video,
right,
but we can hear you.
Hold on a second. Yes. My phone's always busy. That's why. Yeah, so it's fine. So the reason why I support the show because I want more, because I'm very charity focused. I do a lot of charity work and a lot of non-profit organization support, especially when it comes around to planning. I feel like the reason why a lot of our events or our projects don't really do as well as we would hope they do is because the foundation and the planning is not always airtight. And since supporting the show, the AFWL show, the planning has always been to the T. And if I must say so myself, and the organizational element of it always goes as planned. And it also allows for investors and supporters and sponsors to see how well it really goes and want to be able to support us. So I don't just project manage during my 9 to 5. I'm literally speaking, breathing, walking project management every day, every second, every hour.
So back on that, what are your top 3 tips for anyone trying to get into project management?
Okay, so what I would say is that I think if you are a natural organizer and you're one of those people that like to write lists about things, you're actually in a good position because those are really good transferable skills. If you're a good communicator, if you're not, start to practice how to communicate and start to develop emotional intelligence as well, because you will be dealing with different types of people from different walks of life. You cannot get too emotional with your work. You have to be able to manage your emotions. You have to understand the concept of what project management is. If you can, try and attend boot camps or short courses. It's good to read and to understand the theory, but it also helps when you're actually relating with others as well, because you're learning as you're speaking, you're learning as you're reading, and volunteer, take on projects that you not just to pad onto your CV, but truly to understand the concept or how to run how to run a project from start to finish. Or shadow a project manager and ask them as many questions as you can. Then you can start talking about certifications. Then you can talk, like for me, like I said, I'm an accidental project manager. I went into a role. I didn't have a project management qualification. I do have them now because it was a requirement before I moved up, the different levels. But qualifications do help you because it helps you in conversation and it helps you in a room. Because if you don't have qualification, automatically you're deemed to not know much. But if you are able to showcase what you're able to do through your volunteering experiences, then you're actually in a good space. And I would say also check out project management CVs or project management JDs, job description. Start to look at what the requirements are, what the keywords are, and ask yourself, do you match those? And I know oftentimes imposter syndrome comes into play, but you really have to block those noises out and literally be truly honest with yourself. Okay, it says communication. Are you able to communicate with different types of people? Take that out. If you can't, what do you need to develop that? Does that mean that I need to go on social media and start talking more? I tell you what, spaces like Twitter Spaces and Clubhouse can really build your communications.
I ain't learned nothing. I learned that.
Yeah, it can really build your communication.
I ain't learned nothing. I learned that. Yeah.
Because the reason being is no one's looking at you, and you can talk nonsense to you're blue in the face. But you know what? But you can learn and you can keep learning, and no one's judging you. And stop practicing. If before we had the social audio, if you can look at yourself in the mirror and start talking to yourself, or even utilize your cousins, your brothers, your sisters, and say, you know what, I just want to talk to you about something. Don't say nothing. After I finish speaking, then tell me how I did.
Or start a podcast.
I'll start a podcast. Mm-hmm. There you go. Just start talking. And that will not only that will build your confidence, that will build your subject area, and and it builds your vocabulary too. So that's exactly what I would say. Attend boot camps if you can, attend workshops, start talking more, start building your communication skills set, and your EQ, your emotional.
That's one thing I like about the All About the Data community is we have like so much volunteer opportunities, and it really consists of what you said. Like, I have a few people within there that have like created a whole project management system to like keep track of the volunteers, keep track of all the events that we're doing and the processes and systems. And, they can actually, not only can they put that on their resume, of course, but, they're actually learning and getting hands-on practice with these things. So where if they do want to take that on as a profession, they could. Most of them are in there, of course, to either get into data analytics in some type of way, but it's like they're gaining these other skills, either unknowingly or knowingly. And it's like they can pursue project management or pursue anything that they want within that realm. So, and just a little commercial, we're always looking for volunteers at All About the Data. So don't be afraid to reach out, because we are getting bigger by the month. As the months go by, we had like 4,000 members now. So,
Facts.
That's amazing.
We got a lot of stuff coming out. We have different type of events now. We have SQL Saturdays, Tableau Thursdays, Power BI Sundays. We got Excel. We got courses coming out. So, a lot of good things in store.
That's amazing. Go on, Jafar.
Any like certs, books, or formal education that helped you like get into project management?
Yeah,
I'm a certification. So.
Yeah, I know for the US, most definitely. So what I did do, I think I'm going to tweet it. I saw a chart once that talks about the different qualifications internationally. I'm going to speak for the UK or the Europe right now. In UK and Europe, the Prince 2 is highly recommended, especially within local government and other government organizations. You will not get hired unless you have Prince 2. So Prince 2 is like foundation and practitioner. Now, I do know the PMP is getting really, really popular around this neck of the woods as well with Europe. And so even myself, I'm thinking about doing a PMP, but I don't really
you a senior project manager without the PMP?
No, I'm not. I don't, because it's not required in the UK.
What's required over here? They want you to have that PMP.
Yeah, what's required in the UK is Prince 2 foundation and Prince 2 practitioner.
Dang, I got to move to the UK. Let me start practicing.
The practitioner is actually is not easy. But I know looking at the PMP is like the Prince 2 practitioner. So no, you don't, but you will not be hired for a project management role if you do not have Prince 2. If you're trying to get a senior project management role and you only have a Prince 2 foundation, you probably won't get looked at. So you need a Prince 2. Yeah, you need a Prince 2 practitioner. You will not be hired, and they will want to see it. It's not like, oh, I've got it. They would want to see it. It's because they want to know that you understand the principles of project management, especially for government. If you're trying to work within government or public sector, they want to understand that you understand that environment. So with PMP, so I do have a number of colleagues that are based in the US. So I've got my friend Ebon and KG, and they support a number of US aspirants, PM aspirants, and I know the qualification. I think the PMP is like the number one. You need to do that one, but it's coming across this pond now, and there's a requirements for it, but not within government organization or public organizations. But for like international organizations, it needs to be a PMP. Yeah. But for the junior
PMP is like a master's degree over.
It is accepted. PMP, the UK are now accepting the PMP. Before they were not really accepting it. Mm-hmm. They were not accepting it. It was Prince 2. Yeah. Or there is also APMG are now, is it no. They have their own. Just in the past 3 years, they have other qualifications within other said organizations that are now acceptable, but the 3 ones that I would recommend, the 3, Prince 2 Foundation, Prince 2 Practitioner, and the PMP. Sorry, I'm getting messages. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
All right. Just a disclaimer again for everyone who didn't know, that's for the UK.
Yes, for the UK.
I don't think we have Prince 2 over here in the States.
You can tell because
we have the CAPM, and then we have the PMP, are like the 2 top ones. Then you have the CompTIA Project Plus, which I don't think really like falls into anything major. I think that's just good if you just want to know project management skills and you're not really trying to pursue that.
Well, the Project Plus, primarily it has more IT centered project management. And so if you're trying to get into more IT project management.
Project Plus, is that a US qualification?
Yeah, it's CompTIA. It's CompTIA Project Plus. It's not as popular as like the PMP or the CAM. The CAM. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But for those that are just trying to get in, I think to try and understand the concept and the theory, there are a number of free project management courses that you can actually find online. And I think I've tweeted some actually. I think I tweeted about 7 free project management courses that you can actually do if you have the time online. I know that there is also the Google project management certification that's now becoming so popular. I've not tried it myself, but I know it's been highly recommended by a few people that don't know anything about project management. But I was actually
gonna take that one too, but I'm in school right now. In my next semester, I have to take a project management course, so I'm probably not gonna take it anymore.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say, for someone like you, Jamal, I wouldn't say whether you should go and explore getting a project management certificate unless you want to dive into it.
No.
Exactly.
I worked in call centers and I'm not good with talking to other people. I don't have the emotional intelligence.
You do. You can do. Everyone's got emotional intelligence. I didn't really have emotional intelligence. I really used to wear my heart on my sleeves. Yeah. Like I am the sort of person. Even I think when I started within the role, if someone really got on my, I am always quick to share my opinions, and it really didn't pay me. I had to learn the hard way.
I don't like when people ask questions that was already answered. And I dealt with that a lot in customer service. Like, hey, blah, blah, blah. Like, I just said that. Like, what?
You're going to get that in project management. You repeat yourself to different stakeholders all the time. You have to repeat yourself because you want things to be done, and you get asked why all the time. So you have to constantly repeat yourself. But the best way, you just have to find tools to cut down that communication. So if you have a comms plan in place, that usually is a good starting place. And if you have like an intranet, let's say you have a project. This is what I do. I have a project that's about to embark. I start putting everything in that intranet, on that intranet page from the beginning. of the plan of the obviously everyone has a PID. So whatever I can pick from the PID, I put into that intranet. And then I have a link. If someone has a question, go straight to that link. Please go straight to that link. If you don't understand anything, I'm happy to meet up with you for 15, 20 minutes and we can talk about it. And when I'm going into that meeting, I need to get something out of that meeting. I don't go into meetings for the sake of going to meetings. I'm going to meeting for you to get something from me and for me to get something from you. If that's not going to happen, I'm not having that meeting with you. Otherwise, I will send you that link. You can go there. If you've been trained about something, now I'm in change management, which involves a lot of training and implementation, right? So one thing I realized, people will take on training for the sake of hoping to take on training again. So I'll schedule the training. You get trained by one of my staff members. And then if you come back and say, oh, I want to get trained again, you're getting a link straight to that intranet where there will be a video where you can watch it, So you have to start utilizing tools to make your life easy within your role and for your productivity level as well. And that's something I had to learn over the years. So one thing I would say in any job that you find yourself, start thinking of how you can automate your work. That's one thing.
Yeah.
Start thinking of
that's actually something that we've done for the podcast and for the Discord community, is we automated a lot of things. Because at first it was manual. And I was looking at it, I'm like, we're doing way too much for free right now. Like, no, we about to automate some of this and condense some of the work. So, I feel like I have the traits, or I should say the skills to be a project manager, but I don't know. It hasn't really caught my interest yet like that. I do believe. I believe that if I do become a project manager, though, I'm gonna be like the best. I'm kicking doors down,
This guy here.
I
won't be kicking out people's doors. Nah, I'm going to make sure my doors are uninstalled before you come into my house.
No, project management is really good. It's just literally just learning to manage people. That's all it is. Managing people for them to do their jobs. That's all it is. Managing people for them to do their jobs. That's it. People think is you actually doing the work. No, is sorting out the work streams, understanding who the subject matter experts are, and getting them to do the work within a certain time frame, and understanding and managing the risks of potential risks and issues, and just making sure, and that's it really, and the reason why we have gray hair is because what we plan doesn't always go to plan.
Yeah, true.
And just how to manage it, and that's it. I love it. Change management is completely different to that. It's just, and I'm loving it. It's different. I'm learning from it. It isn't like project management where you're telling people what they need to do. Change management is instructing people as to how to do things, and that's it. So. I think I have the best of both right now. I think if I came in as a junior change manager, I don't think I would have liked it as much. I think the fact that my role within senior project management that propelled me into senior project management that propelled me into senior change manager has allowed me to learn things from top down, which is great. And it means that I'm learning with team members as well. What kind of a manager I am? I believe in empowering my staff to do their work. I don't micromanage. And I think that's the best way to kind of, build confidence for them and for me, and trusting that they're now I went to Vegas and I came back and everything was done. I came back on, I went to work on Friday, and my staff members, they literally, because we went through before I left, what their tasks are. And I did not check my email once, and came back on Friday, and even at one point they didn't even they didn't have my time. they had things to do. You know, I was like, can I meet with you guys for 20, 30 minutes? And they were like, no, we've got to do this work before the end of the day. And for me, that's good because it means that they enjoy their work. Two, they want to achieve what they want to achieve and they want to finish it off. And they know that if they do it, it speaks well of me as their manager. So yeah, I enjoy my work.
I think it's the best way to give people, because a lot of people like that autonomy. And when you give it to them, it makes them feel like they're not working for somebody, that they're working for themselves, you know? So not micromanaging is like the best way for it. Cause me, I work a job and like, I literally only hear from my boss if the server goes down or something. Like literally, I'll just tell him every 2 weeks, I tell him my hours and then he just cuts me a check. But other than that, I don't get phone calls. Like I do my work and you know, I could be sitting down chilling, like not doing nothing, like at the beach, which sometimes I will go to the beach, but my work gets done. So, you know, that doesn't matter as long as my work is getting done. And I think that's the best way, you know, having to sit down and like when I'm doing training for like a new job and you're sitting there and you have to be on a recorded screen, like that tension, like it just gives me a lot of like anxiety. And I'm like, yo, like as soon as I get off this camera, like I'm good and I can just zoom and just do everything. But like when you like trying to nitpick and do all that stuff, man, I hate that because I'm like, dude, just let me work.
But you know what I'll say though, because I recently like got a position as a digital marketing specialist, and I could say that knowing how to manage projects or having that project management skill does even play a role even within that, because you know you have to like schedule out your content calendar and you know all those different things that I'm not good at, so I have to get good at now. And you know, it definitely helps. So I'm definitely excited to delve into the world of project management and apply it to my position as I scale up in the marketing data world.
Looking forward to that. Now that I know you're doing that, I'm going to be asking you. Now that you mentioned it. So Shanice, what are you doing within project management, and is it something that you want to do like in the future or now?
Ooh, the podcast got switched out. Now the guest interviewing the I like that.
God dang. I hope you got your questions.
Yeah. So when Jamar first asked me to do the podcast, I didn't think anything of it really. I thought it was going to be like super like lenient and laid back. But when he started having like these, like everyone come on, I'm like, yeah, we need structure, we need organization. And like, I woke up out in the middle of my sleep. I woke up and I just got our Asana together. And I'm like, okay, I like this. Like I can see myself doing this as a job. So I've been looking at it. I haven't really touched on anything just yet, just because I'm in a boot camp for data analytics. But I am looking to do the Google project management certification so I can start working on that as well. But yeah.
Awesome. If you need anything, just let me know.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I picked up a lot of gems from you so far. So yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Sorry, it's just my nature. Don't mind me. Too many questions in my head.
I like that. We about to make that. I'm about to send that the email to the upcoming ones. Make sure you ask us questions too.
Not them doing the work for us. But
it's like when I
ask you.
Go on.
Oh no, go ahead.
No, go on.
No, it was about something.
I'm about to play rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper, scissors. That's 2 out of 3.
It was okay. So I know like you have your degrees in law, business, and tech. Like, was that your interest first? Like, how did project management come into play with all those?
Good question. So not trying to tell you my age, but when I first started, I was embarking on a law degree, to becoming a lawyer, and I did go as far as getting a traineeship with a law firm. After like a year, I think it might be my personality. I was bored. Like literally, I enjoy law. I enjoy debating. I enjoy asking questions, as you can tell, because I've got really inquisitive mind. But the moment I realized that all I was going to be doing was just pen pushing, like literally just reading and writing, and you don't actually go to court. I'm like, no, this is not for me. And I already started thinking in my head, how do I pivot? What do I need to do? How do I tell my parents I don't want to do law anymore? So I started hatching a plan. So I think it was one day I called my dad and I was like, Dad, guess what? And he was like, what? I said, I've got a brilliant idea. He said, well, I said, I'm going to be the president of Nigeria. And he, and I tell you, there's a reason why I said that. And he was like, oh, really? I said, yeah. And in order for me to do that, I need to do politics. And he goes, oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Not that I really was saying I was going to be the president of Nigeria. I was literally just trying to get him to think something else. So he was like, so what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to go back to uni to go and do politics. And he was like, oh, that's good. So what about your legal career? I said, nah, I just don't think I want to do that anymore. And, kind of law and politics kind of, linking together. Yeah. And he said, okay, all right. So he was like, okay, go. So I think it was my first year in doing my politics degree. I was really blessed to have got an internship at the House of Commons, which is very rare. I don't know whether you guys know about the House of Commons, House of Lords. Right. So first year of that degree, there was a call asking for students to come in and apply. And I think there was like 300 of us. And it was just one position. That's like one of my biggest achievements, by the way. And being that I was Black and everybody wasn't, it was really interesting. And went for the interview and they were like, would you like the job? And I was working for an MP. And that's when I got project management in my head, literally at that point, because we were running campaigns for government and it was literally managing those campaigns. And that was when everything started to make sense, like my organizational skills, my people skills, my communication skills, all those skills were built while I was there. And although I was there for a little over a year, and then I started, so from central government, started working for local government. Local government, it's like councils. I don't know what they call them in the US. So they're like councils that deals with the said areas of where that council is. So I was dealing with, so I got a job as a communication consultant and campaigns manager. So that was where all the project management element was coming into. And then someone said to me, oh, Bukki, do you know you're a project manager? I'm like, no, I'm a campaign manager. I'm a communication consultant. And he was like, everything that you've been doing is project management. And he said, why don't you apply for this role within the NHS? And that's how that journey started. And now if I'm not doing project management within the NHS, I think I probably was been working in the House of Commons or local government doing project management. It would have happened anyway. Yeah, exactly, so to answer your question,
That's dope.
Yeah, I used to be interested in politics at one point, just like the historical side of it. I don't really get into the voting and stuff like that. It'd be the same anyway, no matter who in the office. But
exactly.
Oh, that's deep.
But it is interesting to look into it though.
Yeah, I agree.
So I was looking into your background a little bit. So about to ask you a top-notch question here. I see that you the COO at what it is, Oni Life Global Outreach. So what's that about? How do you manage that into your time and what you guys do?
Oh, great. So I put that bio there on purpose, actually, because there's so much that I do. And from what I said earlier on with regards to my actual passion is literally focused around supporting NGOs and charities, because I have this concept that I have to die empty. Like, seriously, from that great book. What I mean by that is that everything that's within me, like, I need to release it. And if I don't, I will feel like I am taking everything that God has kind of blessed me with, and like, you know, my learnings, my everything, I would have just, you know, not passed it on. So I try to get into as much charity or social good projects as I could. So the Oni of Ife is actually the king of a place called Ile-Ife. And he's known as the paramount ruler of all Yoruba people. So a little bit of my history is, although I've grown up in the UK for the longest time, I knew that my family, I knew where my family came from, basically, but not really, not that I wasn't proud of it, but it wasn't the kind of things that you just kind of say, because people think that you have natural advantage because you're royalty, and that's not always the case. More so, I would say, hey, I think everything kind of happened like 6-7 years ago. So more so like 6-7 years ago, my uncle, who was the king of Ile-Ife, he passed away. And my cousin then became the king, and he was much younger. And when he ascended the throne, we had a conversation, and we kind of discussed what are the things that we can do, especially with those that are in the diaspora, to kind of bridge the gap, you know, back home. So we set up, you know, the global outreach. And what we did was that we started traveling to places. So we traveled to the US, we traveled to Brazil, to the UK, and to kind of start, you know, creating initiatives. Sorry, let me just cancel that. Hello? Yeah. Yeah, to create initiatives that will support projects to the re-educating of, you know, Blacks in the diaspora or Africans in diaspora. So we have a number of initiatives that we run. I also project manage the festival, which is like, if you think of the Holi festival in India, it's sort of like the same that we do once a year in October in Ife, and over 500,000 people show up from all over the world.
Do you use Dierra for all of this?
Do we use what? Dierra? I have a huge team. No, and I'm not the only one. So I come in from the international angle. So there is a team over there that actually works on it. So any events that's happening in the UK, I spearhead it. Or any international events that's happening, I spearhead them. Like the ones that we did in Brazil, the one we did in the US. So I manage those ones, but the ones back home, I don't, because there's a lot of politics and red tapes with regards to those. But I still support it from an international perspective. So I am the coup of it. It is not a position I take very lightly because it is my family heritage, but I don't go around telling everyone I'm the princess of this. I literally take it from a different perspective of, you know, what can I do to help? How can I support? It's like kind of my charitable arm. So we also work with like youths in the UK, because that's where I'm based, especially those that want to go back home. So the idea is like we do like a pilgrimage once a year. We've not been able to do it during the pandemic, but I hope to revive it for next year, to take at least like 50 to 100 youths back home so they can kind of explore it, understand that it isn't what you see in the media, and to kind of empower them and build their sense of heritage, so to speak. So that's a passion project for me, and I do get emotional. It's a passion project for me, and it's something that's very close to my heart, because I have 2 young girls as well that are not truly connected to their heritage, and they find it really bizarre sometimes when my parents or my family come over and call them princesses, and they're like, how am I a princess when I live like this in the UK? You know, because the concept of what's, you know, the brainwashing that's happened with how the media's portrayed Africa and portrayed certain things, my children are kind of like, and it's how I grew up as well. If it wasn't for like, we've been indoctrinated in certain ways. But now I see, like, I'm not comfortable about certain parts of who I am and what I am. And that's because of, of the society that I grew up in. And I see the same happening with my children. And because I don't want them to turn out like how I feel and not owning my own power, I want to demystify all that and let them know that, man, you're great. You really are.
They got to know that Africa is the motherland. It's where everything originated from. Africa has a lot of history. A lot of the stuff we even deal with now, like even data, the Egyptians was always good at math and all those things. So, tell them don't listen to Babylon, man.
Exactly. But it's hard. It's good because I lived it, so I understand what they're going through. Whereas my parents don't understand what I went through. They don't understand it, so their perspective is like, oh, you should be happy. So even like my peers that didn't grow up in the same country as I did, they are like, do you know who you are? And I'm like, yeah, but it's okay. Whereas my children, they don't, like, I'm now saying to them, do you know who you are? And they're like, Mom, you're so dramatic. Like, you're so dramatic, So, and I'm like, I'm trying to be less dramatic. But then I think about it and I was like, my mom was exactly the same way. Like, do you know who you are? So, and having my children say that to me now, I'm like, okay, I feel it. But that is my passion project. And on your for global outreach is, we're doing great things with it. So many initiatives, so many campaigns, so many work to be done. Yeah. Bridging the gaps.
Okay. I like how you answer questions though. It's like you got like a storyline. It's like this how it started, this how it's going, this how it's about to finish. Like we get the whole sauce. I like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll be able to ask you all these, job interview questions, but we'll try to get through what we can get through without taking up too much of your time. We gonna get ready to wrap it up. So what drove you to create the Ask Bukki service that you got?
I'll tell you that again came out of passion. So I've always met, because of the projects that I've worked with from Nigeria, I've met young, capable, talented individuals that don't have jobs but only survive on projects. And from them, and I know where I am, there's always constantly new projects that comes in, and people are always looking for, web designers, graphic designers, and video artists. And so one time I got a project to work, and I had a campaign to work on, and I recruited this talented individuals to do the project, and they did it so well. I said, okay, I'm setting up an agency just to help these guys so that they can start having, a level of income that's coming through, because a lot of graduates back home just didn't have work. So I literally set up Ask Bukki just so they can get, work. And from there, it kind of built into like a tech hub. And I had like about over a dozen young, talented, people working under Ask Bukki, because Bukki, people are always asking Bukki for something. Ask Bukki, literally, that's the name. People are always asking Bukki, how do I do this? How do I do? So that name kind of just got stuck, and it was created to support talented people in Nigeria so that they can have work, they can get work, and not so much me doing all the work, but I'm getting a job for them to do. So that's literally what it is. It is a tech hub that creates for businesses to be digitally online. The only aspect that I work on is helping them to register their businesses. And the branding is done by some of the guys. And I also work with, because I have a legal background, so I also help protect people's branding. And that's through trademarking. And I love doing that as well. I absolutely love it, but I don't do it all the time. But when I do get the time, and if I do get clients that want to protect their businesses in the UK, and I have really good relations with trademark specialists in the US and in Africa as well, that I work with to make sure that businesses, wherever you are located, your brand can be protected, because there's nothing worse than coming up with a name and starting up a business and thinking that you're kosher and you've invested so much in it, only to find out maybe 6 months or 2 years or 3 years down the line that you're infringing on somebody else's, rights or brand. So yeah, protect your name, protect your business, get it registered.
Yeah, that's I had to recently do that for All About the Data, since
I heard. I saw. How did that go? I saw it and I knew straight away. Yeah. But I didn't want to ask you because I know it could be a sore point, because I do deal with a lot of clients, trust me.
Yeah. Well, I actually been registering my own business since I was like 20. So, I was already familiar with the process.
Oh, cool.
It's been a little delay, I guess, like due to like the COVID stuff, but it's pretty much set in stone though. So yeah, we pretty much.
So did you sort out the trademark for your name, or?
Yeah, the trademark I got a lawyer working on that one, but I was able to register like the business itself.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So, but yeah, as far as trademarking, that part I never did before, so I'm gonna leave that in the professionals' hands.
Please do.
Yeah.
Please do. Yeah. You get people that say they can do it themselves. So I don't like to talk too much about trademark because it is a lot of work. So I was on Clubhouse, I think last year, and I was in a space, and someone that I knew was like, "Oh, Bukki, that's trademark." And I got so much emails. And I'm one of those people that if you ask me for something, I can't say no, especially if you tell me a sob story. So I had a lady that had done her trademark, and she was smart. But what she did was that she did a research so much that she included everything into the trademark, and it was rejected. And it was rejected by, anyway, it's a long story. And she sent me an email. She was like, this is the reason why they rejected me. And her name, she's very silly, name was similar to a well-known brand, right? And what she did, she thought she was being smart. She was trying to register it for an Amazon store, right? So the law firm for the other organization of the well-known brand picked her up, because obviously they have a database, and rejected her completely. And she had I think they gave her some months for her to respond, and she was how do you say, ignoring it. So eventually she came to me. I read through the paperwork, and I was like, you've not been rejected. They're asking you to respond. She's saying she was rejected. They're asking you to respond. This is the time for you to respond. Are you invested in this name? What have you done with this name? And then when I looked at the application, and the reason why she was picked up, because oftentimes a lot of these big names, they don't pick up everything. And the reason why she was picked is because she thought she was being really smart and included everything in a trademark. All she needed to do was probably add, the ones that are pertaining to what her business was for. I liaised with the legal team, and we went back and forth, and she was allowed to keep the name. She was allowed to keep the name under one class, although for the other two classes, so I don't necessarily like to do trademark. I like to do trademark from fresh. I don't like to do trademark from people that have already started their trademark and they think they're smart. So if you want to do trademarking, get a specialist, get someone that knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
Then you're protected.
You just got to know. You just got to know your lane. You know, like I said, as far as registering businesses, I done registered maybe over 20 businesses. I don't offer it as a service, so don't nobody email me, inbox me, don't none of that. But I've been doing it since I was 20, so you know that good. But with trademarking, I definitely.
You're gonna get people still sending you messages.
I don't do it. Hey, I ain't afraid to say no. Nope. I'm telling you right now, nope.
No, someone's gonna come and say, guess what, Jamal? I tried to register a business. Something happened. Can you just point me in the right direction?
I'm gonna say I'm sorry about that.
You get that anyway, don't you?
Yeah. So many people, but yeah.
Oh, so going back to your work with Oni of IFE Global Outreach.
Oni of IFE.
Of that. And then you have your Cradle Calls. And then you have your project management job, and you have your change management job. Like, how do you manage all of that while being a mom of two? And they're 12 and 14, so they're teenagers. Like, how do you manage all that?
That's a good question. And I like that question because I get asked all the time. And you know what I said earlier on about planning my life? Mm-hmm. That's exactly it. Like, literally, I have a plan for 2 weeks. I've got a plan for next week and I've got a plan for the week after. Mm-hmm. And I include my children in my plan. I think my children, I was really lucky from when they were born to when they were teenagers. I had a really supportive partner at the time who understood my vision and my mission. Mm-hmm. And he knew what I wanted to do, and he knew where my happy place was. And my happy place was helping people and being constantly busy. So my children were literally well brought up by the both of us. But now that they're teenagers, they're quite self-sufficient. So it's a matter of me communicating with them. They know in the morning, I drop them off at school. And now we have a little bit of understanding now. I drop them off at school and then I work 9 to 5, constant, my day job. And then from 6 o'clock, literally, I take an hour break. From 6 o'clock, I plan my after hours work. So that's Ask Bukki, that's the Cradle Calls, that's Global Outreach, that's everything. That's even including some of the communities that I've set up. So I've just recently set up a woman in leadership group community on Twitter. So I set that up. And so I do all of that from like 6 to whenever. And that runs Monday to Friday. Saturdays, I am literally cleaning up for the week before, right? What I mean by cleaning up, making sure if there's anything that I've missed, if there's any calls that I've not done, if there's anything I need to cross out, I try and do that. Sunday, I try and get a little bit of rest, and then I start the week again. And literally, that's why the holiday was really needed, because I didn't have holiday for the past 2 years. So it was the first time I really didn't pick up my laptop, didn't use my phone. So that's literally how I manage myself. I have a plan for a plan for a plan. And I incorporate everybody that's in my life with it. And I'm really blessed because everyone that's in my life, my sister, my sibling, my mom, my dad, my friends, they know my personality and they know who I am. So like now I'm on this call, quite a few people have called me. And because I've cancelled, they're not going to be offended because a few people know that I'm doing this. So I communicate. So I was with my friends just now, like, listen, I've got a call that I've got to do. I'm going to be in a car, so don't disturb me. But now they've left, so I'm just going to go and meet them later. So they've sent me a message. So it's just making sure that you communicate your plans with those that are around you. And another thing is that people will get frustrated. Like my children, sometimes they do get frustrated, they do get angry, but I always try and make time for them. We have, Friday, Friday movie nights, and then Saturdays and Sundays we go to the movies again. So we do one form of activity, or we go and eat at least 3 times a month.
So question, does it, because I try to do that too. And then I feel like sometimes like me, I have a routine. I wake up at like 5:30 to 6. Then I always go to the gym. Then I always just have this whole repeating cycle. How do you get out of the banality of that? Because sometimes it just gets so boring to just kind of stick to that routine for so long. And I'm like, oh my God, I want to go jump out of a plane or something. Or does that just not work with you? Or are you just like good?
My routine. Do I find it boring at times? Not really, because do you know what it is? Do you know what it is? I'm results driven.
Yeah.
I am results driven, and because when I see the results, it motivates me. So I don't really see it as a routine. So, and the only time I change my routine is if the results is not coming through. And something is, let me give you an example. So if my children are getting upset about my routine, that proves that I'm slacking as a mum, right? And because that doesn't sit well with me, I have to change something for them. Does that make sense? Yeah. So like, I know with my 9 to 5 is my 9 to 5, but the work that I do within my 9 to 5, it isn't like I'm on my computer throughout the day. And that's the blessing that I have within my role within senior management. I don't have a manager that might micromanage me, and I don't micromanage my team members. So it's really fair. I only go to meetings that concerns me. If the meeting doesn't concern me, I'm not there. It is what it is. Most of the time I'm doing paperwork, computing, that's it. So my schedule for work is not, it's not crazy, if I even get the opportunity to do other things in between. The only thing that's crazy is when I'm focusing on my projects, because I feel like I have to get the results there and there. That's the only thing, because I put so much into it. And then my children as well, that there's no compromise to that at all, Sure. If my children need me on a Monday morning and I'm supposed to be at work, I'm going to my children. That's it.
So when your plan, or in case a plan does fall through, how do you manage that? How do you pivot from that?
For plan,
as far as your personal life.
What did you say?
Like as far as your personal life, when a plan.
If a plan. Oh my gosh, so many things doesn't like, even now, like my life changed about 8 months ago, which was totally unexpected. And you can either sit and cry and mope about it, or you can actually do something about it. Yeah, I feel like the people that don't do anything about it, sometimes you might actually miss the momentum to actually do something great, if that makes any sense. Yeah. So I've learned very, very early on that if I am met by disappointments, like I say, I'm a lady of faith. There's a reason behind it. There's something that's meant to happen. And rather than me being sad about it or feeling sorry for myself, I think about what can I do that can make me happy. Yeah. And usually the funny thing is, we already know the answer. We already know what it is that we need to do. We already know how we're going to pivot. It's just that we just need to have that clear mind to be able to make that decision. So I'm really blessed in that way, that when something falls through, I'm usually quite quick to pick up and do the necessary, if that makes sense. So within my private life, yes, you can cry, you can moan about it, but you better not sit down for too long. Don't sit down for too long, because when you do, everything else will set in. Depression, imposter syndrome, opportunities to kind of self-sabotage, all that will come in. So to be able to keep that at bay, you need to have a positive aspect to life. You have to have that ready, set mindset. And I'm not saying be a robot and be like, not be emotional. Yes, be emotional about it, but don't sit in your sorrow for too long. Like, get up and go. What's plan B? Some people say it's not good for you to have plan B. I say, plan. Plan as you want. Don't let anyone tell you what to do. Plan as you want. Yes, seek advice, find out other people's mistakes, work from your own mistakes as well, and then pivot, and you're not going to get everything right at every single time. You're not, no one's perfect. You're literally, and it's all about learning. If you make a mistake and you don't learn from it, you're going to keep making the same mistake. But if you do learn from it, then it's an opportunity for you to be great. That's what I think anyway. But private and private and work life too as well.
Facts. So get ready to wrap it up here. We want to see this final question. It's off topic. Don't get nervous.
No, never.
She ready.
I ain't never scared.
She playing. What you mean? She got a plan.
Now we want to ask you, who is your favorite reggae artist?
Ooh, reggae.
Come now, buddy. Let's get it going there, buddy.
Reggae. Oh, no, ragga.
Make we hear something, no man. Make we hear something. Come now, man.
Can we put Bob Marley?
Yeah, of course. That's my favorite.
Yeah, number one. Yeah. And then, and then for ragga is Shabba Rankin.
Shabba Rankin. That's it.
You know, I watched Bob Marley documentary probably 10 times. I love to watch it.
Wow. Do you know there's an exhibition? It's so weird that you said that. There's an exhibition happening in London in a Saatchi & Saatchi gallery for Bob Marley. And I just bought tickets to my children yesterday because they have like a midterm in 2 weeks' time. And it's also my daughter's 15th birthday. I'm taking them to Paris. But I want them to go to the Bob Marley gallery because they love Bob Marley. Those girls, they're young souls, but they love music and appreciate music more than I do. I don't have time.
Bob Marley music was timeless, man. It's gonna live forever. He lived in London for a little bit too.
He did.
Yeah, he lived in London, so
he did. That wasn't a hard question.
See, you were in your mind like, what is he gonna ask? Oh my god. But that's pretty much all our questions for today. So we just gonna get into the Tech Titan part of our show where we just shout out one person in tech within the community that is doing big things for the community as well. So for today's Tech Titan, number 14, can't believe we on episode 14 already. It's crazy. But we want to shout out to Dierra Footman, who is also known as CCIE by 30 on Twitter, and she's on LinkedIn as well. She's pretty big in the network engineering community. So if you are on the network engineer path, she definitely has like a lot of resources, tips, and everything in that realm. So definitely get out and follow all that good stuff. We appreciate everyone tuning into the All About the Data podcast, episode 14, with special guest Bukki. Senior project manager, went to change management. That's what's up. Any closing statements you want to say to the people before we close out?
I think what you're doing, the three of you, is amazing, and I can't wait for where it's going to go. And I just want to say thank you so much for having me. Thank you for allowing me to be myself, because oftentimes you go into like these kind of conversations and it's really rigid. And although I'm a planner in real life, I'm literally about, having real meaningful conversations. I've got an opportunity to learn from all three of you. And I hope anyone that's listening is able to pick up one or two things from everything that I've said today. But yeah, thank you.
Oh, yeah, a lot of gems was dropped. We got charged for this episode. One day we're going to charge for an episode. I'm just saying. But All About the Data podcast, we appreciate everybody tuned in. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, all of the above. Make sure you join the Discord if you haven't already. We have 4,000 plus members. May change by the time this episode come out. Tune into all our events. SQL Saturday, Tableau Thursday, Power BI Sunday, and we got Excel Tuesdays coming soon. You heard it here first.
Yeah, I know we had another
Tuesdays is coming soon. We got the t-shirt line dropping. We got courses coming. So y'all make sure y'all tap into All About the Data, baby. And with that being said, we out. Peace.